Great day, everybody. My name is Tom Miller from Leaders Building Leaders, and I am here to talk to you about another chapter in Todd Whitaker's classic, What Great Principals Do Differently. We are studying chapter 17, which is Don't Need to Repair, Always Do Repair. And like every chapter, this is my favorite, right? I'll just come right out and say it. I was not a very nice person, and I'm still not always a very nice person all the time. And Whitaker's book continues to point out really what not a nice person I was when I was a day-to-day school leader. So this chapter made me think of many stories, some that I repaired and some that I didn't repair, and I probably need to go back and repair. Some of those. If you remember, I was a middle school principal, and relationships in me have been a struggle at times. Because I have a massive head. It barely fits on this screen, right? And also I have a very, very intense outlook on how hard everybody should work and should work to grow themselves and do the right things. So I wrote down a couple of notes here. I'd probably give myself a C or a D when I was a principal, in terms of relationships and making sure that I went back and repaired what I had to repair. I really like what I've learned, and I'll just talk about a couple of stories. So Dr. Les Stein taught us in his with our podcast about the Commander's Notebook, and the Commander's Notebook was just this little tiny, book that you can keep in your pocket, and it was just notes about everybody that he saw, right? So everybody when he was in the military, because he led, 100 plus men. And he had to have a better understanding of all of them, so he would keep little notes on them about how they were feeling, how they looked, made sure he checked in with them. Maybe there was something going on, with their families. And I recall this every time that I'm out now as a charter school consultant, we have to build relationships fast. And sometimes we break those, we break things. Let's just say we break things. And we have to repair them, and we have to repair them quickly. Whether or not we're wrong or right in a situation, that's not really what's most important. What's most important is that we repair the situation immediately. And I remember many times as a principal with students and with teachers, I was not prepared to repair. So, because I wasn't prepared, I was constantly repairing things. And so this chapter is really a great reminder to me. What maybe has kept you from apologizing. Okay, what maybe has kept you apologizing to staff or parents or for something that you said or did. Because there's no doubt that you can tell that you have broken something, right? Again, doesn't matter if you're wrong or right. The point is, you are a leader, you're the face of the organization, and it's your responsibility to make sure that you are repairing and keeping relationships with all levels of your school, especially those individuals who have influence. So I want you to constantly think about somebody, not constantly, just to reflect on someone that maybe you never did repair, or you weren't sure why a relationship may have gone poorly. And I can specifically remember, I know I've told this story in a past video about how it was a teacher who ended up not working with us anymore, because he had a criminal record at the time, a newly created criminal record, and his message to me after he had left was, I really feel sad that something like this had to happen for me to understand how you felt about me, right? Because remember, I had told him that I would make sure his legacy stayed strong, and we would not, do anything to, hurt his programming, and we would keep it going as best as possible, right? I never repaired that relationship, right? I wasn't always sure exactly what I did to break it. I know there was some aspects of the way I was a little bit more controlling, or wanted him to be a little bit more, consistent in his practices with the rest of the staff. However, I never had that conversation with him in a respectful way, right? So Because I never repaired it when I should have, the repercussions when things really got bad, I didn't have that rapport and respect with him. So as they got worse, it kind of came to the consensus that he realized I did care about him, but it was only because I was trying to save and hold on to the work that he had done, and that was hurtful for me because it just made me realize I was not being the leader that he always needed me to be. And leaders need to do the hard things, and they need to have hard conversations, and they need to admit when they're wrong. And I, guarantee, in 80% of those conversations, I was wrong. So that was definitely one thought there. And I wrote this note about leadership landmines. There's a couple of students that, gosh, if I would have seen myself from the outside, I would have fired myself. I was so irate at what they had done. There was definitely racial issues at our school. It was a very rural school that had a very small population of any person of color, and I had a couple of particular students who, like to push the envelope. And one time I finally caught one, and I caught him bad, and I dropped the hammer down, and I was definitely, if you can see my eyebrows now, I was just a nut. I was a nut, and he didn't deserve that. He's a kid. He's just dumb, and it really made a massive impact because what I wanted to happen wasn't upheld by the board and the superintendent of the school. So then I had to eat crow. Right, so I was this raving lunatic, and which was probably right, that the student wasn't expelled for what he did, as much as I wanted him to be. I never repaired that relationship. I never repaired it with him or his family, and it certainly created animosity, not just with me, but some of his inner circle and other students too. So I never gained that respect back because I lost it. Right. So I'm sure you have your own stories. I could probably go on for hours about my leadership landmines in terms of repairing, right, and preparing to repair. So I'm just going to ask you that question. If you have someone that you need to repair with, what's stopping you? Just write it down, think it through. It's not a good reason, I can guarantee you. And your long-term impact is going to affect you a lot longer than your short-term sitting down and apologizing and not necessarily trying to explain why you did what you did. Just let them know that what you do know is that your actions as a leader impacted them on a personal nature. And if you want to get that credibility back, you need to take that time to repair. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you're continuing to read through this incredible book. It's got a lot of great action steps for you. Hope you hop in to one of our calls, and if you ever want to reach out and do some time and learn more about my leadership landmines, or we can talk through some of yours, I'm always here for you. Go ahead and email me at tom@leadersbuildingleaders. Have a great day.